Hi, so many of you have asked me to talk about my experiences with billionaire Robert Kuok, the sugar king of Malaysia. Well, okay, but I'm not going to talk about his wife. Yeah, some of you asked me, his current wife was a stewardess. I said, oh yeah, her name was Pauline. Of course, I knew her very well. We used to fly together quite a lot before she met Robert Kuok and when she met Robert Kuok too. But I'm not going to talk about Pauline. I'm going to talk about Robert Kuok. Robert Kuok was our former chairman. He was the sugar king of Malaysia. He's a billionaire. Currently, he lives in Hong Kong. And he just celebrated his birthday on the 6th of October 2023, 100th birthday. He's 100 years old now. Yeah. When I first met Robert uh, many years ago, when he was perhaps in his early 50s, and I was in my mid 20s. I was a chief steward then. He was on my flight. And of course, we revered him being our chairman. Uh, but he was such an easygoing gentleman, not intimidating, but polite, courteous, and friendly. After his dinner, he came up to me and asked me for permission to smoke his cigar. First class passenger were allowed to smoke cigar provided the other fellow passengers do not object. So he came to my galley and he asked me whether he could smoke. I said, "Oh, Mr. Kwok, you don't have to ask me. You just go ahead. You are the boss of the airline." He said, "No, no. You are the boss. You are the chief. I'm not the boss of the airline. Right now, you are in charge. So you can ask around whether any objection from the other fellow passengers." So I asked around. Of course, many of them knew Mr. Kwok, and they said, "Of course, it's not a problem." And there you go. Robert asked me to sit next to him uh, at the little sky lounge on the Boeing 707 next to my galley, and he smoked his cigars. And he talked to me about cigars and talked to me about his life and some part of his business. He was such a charming uh, gentleman. I like him a lot. And then the next time I met him was maybe 2 years later when I was on the Boeing 747. I was promoted to the rank of an in-flight supervisor then. And we met again, and I served him again, you know. And on a night flight to Europe, a long flight, he didn't eat his dinner. So in the middle of the night or few hours before landing into London, yes, he came to the galley while my crew was resting, and he asked me, uh, when are we going to serve breakfast? So I told him, I said, it'll be about 4 hours from now. Usually we serve breakfast about 2 hours before landing at our destination. So it's 4 hours and we are not serving yet. And he looked at me and he said, all right. So I said, Mr. Kwok, you don't ask me for nothing. You must be hungry because I noticed you didn't eat your dinner. He said, kind of. I said, no, Mr. Kwok, you can have your breakfast now, anytime you want. He said, sure. All right, you fix the breakfast for me. Don't disturb your crew. They are resting. I would like you to serve me, to make my breakfast for me. I said, sure, Mr. Kuok, it will be a pleasure, definitely. And then I uh, prepared his breakfast, and then he stood by me and he said, put it on a economy tray, and I'll be sitting at the crew seat, which is away from the, the passenger cabin. The cabin was dark, people were sleeping. He told me, don't switch on the cabin lights. I will sit at door one, right, the crew seat, and you will sit next to me while I have my breakfast, and you can have your coffee or whatever it is. So I put on the little light above our head, a small light which would not disturb the other passenger, and he had his breakfast. He was such a gracious man. There's something about Robert Kuok. You just like to be in his company. His body language, his mannerism were excellent. And I met him again a few months later, and he invited me. Uh, Pauline, his current wife, was a stewardess then, myself, and he said, make it a foursome. You get another stewardess. So I got hold of Lillian, another stewardess who was on the flight with us. And Robert came to pick us from our hotel in London after the flight that evening, and we had dinner in London, Chinatown. He gave us a big treat, or he just bought his brand new Merc then. So he said, I'll show you. And he drove us to the restaurant. And on the next day, or a few days later, sorry, we were departing London, and he was on our flight again. And it was a pleasant surprise. Mr. Robert Kuok brought 18, 18, that's the number of crew that we had, cabin crew. 18 packets of char siu duck rice from Bayswater. He knew that the crew loved this char siu roasted duck rice from Bayswater. So he ordered 18, and he himself, such a humble man, a billionaire and our chairman, carried the 18 packets to the aircraft and gave them to me and asked me to distribute to the crew. What a gentleman. He really cared for us. And of course, I met him again a few times. I'm not going to talk too much, too long, but I tell you, in summary, Robert Kuok is a lovely, nice gentleman. And so was Pauline, a sweet, beautiful lady, so gracious and charming too. I hope you'll be pleased with what I've told you. Thank you.